Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El Rome.
And I'm Shanna Fold.
In our top story, Israel is advancing plans to extend its sovereignty throughout the Jewish heartland of Judea and Samaria. In a recorded message marking the 100th anniversary of the San Remo conference, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he is confident that within a few months we will celebrate a historic moment in the history of Zionism. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo recently came out in support of Israel's right to express sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, according to President Donald Trump's plan for peace in the region. America's top diplomats stressed that sovereignty is an Israeli decision. International organizations have stepped up their criticism of the action and have begun to intensify their lobbying efforts to thwart it. Both the European Union and the United Nations have warned Jerusalem against moving forward with the issue, which is scheduled for a Knesset vote by July 1st. The Israeli public believes that the matter of extending sovereignty in Judea and Samaria is long overdue and must be resolved immediately.
Israel has released the details regarding a series of foiled terror attacks. Shin Bet, Israel's internal security service, has declassified information pertaining to several attempted terror plots in Jerusalem that were prevented by some diligent officers. The most significant would have been a bombing at Jerusalem's largest soccer stadium, which can hold up to 30,000 fans. 3 members of the Hamas terror group were arrested last month and admitted to planning this major attack, as well as an assault on Israeli soldiers near Ramallah.
A Jerusalem district court has ruled that the Palestinian Authority is liable for the deaths of Israelis murdered in Palestinian terror attacks, and they ordered the PA to pay $142 million to the families of the victims. The decision to hold the Palestinian Authority liable is based on its statements claiming credit for all terror attacks during the Second Intifada. The money will come out of the PA's Pay to Slay Fund, which provides the families of Palestinian terrorists with a healthy monthly stipend.
Iran continues to inflame tensions against Israel and the United States by air, land, and sea. Tehran's Revolutionary Guards claim to have placed a satellite into orbit, a move that has the potential to advance the Islamic Republic's ballistic missile program. Jerusalem released a statement strongly condemning the action and called on the international community to impose further sanctions on the Iranian regime to deter it from its defiant and dangerous activities. The United States also stressed the need to extend the embargo on conventional arms sales to Tehran, highlighting the recent satellite launch and calling Iran the leading state sponsor of terrorism and anti-Semitism. Meanwhile, 11 Iranian speedboats swarmed around U.S. Navy and Coast Guard vessels while they were on routine patrol in international waters. In a show of force, President Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to destroy any and all Iranian gunboats if they harass American ships at sea.
Israeli media outlets have reported an attempted cyber attack on Israel's water infrastructure. An internal memo sent by the Water Authority encouraged all employees to immediately change their passwords, with emphasis on the operational system and chlorine control in particular, after several cyber attacks were detected. The Water Authority confirmed that the recent attempts were nothing new and that the appropriate experts were working diligently to ensure the security of Israel's water systems.
At least 4 Iranian militants have been killed in pre-dawn strikes on an Iranian airbase located south of Damascus. Israeli Defense Minister Naftali Bennett warns that Israel has gone from a policy of blocking Iran to one of pushing it out. Last week, Syrian state media claimed that Israel had repeatedly attacked a compound in the Palmyra Desert. These targets were later confirmed by the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights to be a cluster of military installations used by Iranian militias. Israel has neither confirmed nor denied its involvement in the recent strikes, but it is a known fact that the Israeli Air Force has destroyed Iranian weapons facilities in Syria in the past.
The U.S. Congressional Israel Allies Caucus sent blessings to Israel on its 72nd birthday. The letter to President Reuven Rivlin celebrates the establishment of the modern state of Israel and its remarkable achievements and contributions to the world. It also notes the shared values that have sealed the friendship between Washington and Jerusalem for so many decades. The document was signed by Israel Allies Caucus co-chairman Elliot Engel, Doug Lamborn, Steve Shebit, Brad Sherman, Juan Vargas, and Chris Smith. The congressional body is the only bipartisan pro-Israel caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives and is part of the Israel Allies Foundation's network of 42 Israel Allies caucuses in countries around the world.
A Danish Christian group has released a translation of the New Testament which completely omits all mention of Israel. In what is being called a gift to Jew haters and Israel bashers, the Lutheran Danish Bible Society said their decision to alter New Testament texts to omit the word Israel was an attempt to avoid identifying ancient Israel with the modern Jewish state. Biblical scholars denounce the so-called translation, saying the text is not only inaccurate, but shows a clear anti-Israel bias.
Israel's international defense and electronics giant Elbit has made a deal to upgrade drones in Latin America to the tune of $20 million. The company announced that it had won 2 contracts to integrate satellite communication systems, as well as update the automatic takeoff and landing systems of today's operational fleets of Hermes unmanned aerial vehicles. The upgrade will reportedly increase the range of the 10-year-old drones to more than 1,000 kilometers and allow the UAVs to take off and land even without GPS reception.
Palestinian leaders are praising the so-called heroism of 3 Arab terrorists who participated in the kidnapping and murder of 11 Israeli athletes during the Munich Olympics in 1972. Palestinian Media Watch, an Arab-language media watchdog organization, reveals that the terrorists were glorified this week on the official Facebook page of PA leader Mahmoud Abbas. The organization notes that, unfortunately, the coronavirus crisis has not deterred the PA and its largest political party from presenting terrorists as heroes and role models.
A Jewish community center in the city of Kherson in southern Ukraine has been firebombed. No one was injured in the attack, but the ancient building was damaged by the improvised explosive device. This is the latest in a series of anti-Semitic attacks against Jews in the country. The Jews of Ukraine have endured unimaginable hardships. The recent war with Russia sparked a massive immigration to Israel. According to the Ministry of Absorption, 30,000 Jews moved to Israel or made Aliyah from the Ukraine between 2014 and 2018.
Iranian courts have ordered a jail sentence and 10 lashes for a Muslim who converted to Christianity. 21-year-old Mary Fatima Mohammadi was arrested by Iranian forces in January during chaotic demonstrations over Tehran's downing of a Ukrainian passenger plane. Iranian officials say she had disturbed the public order, but Mohammadi says her sentence is the result of protesting against the slaughter of human beings and for defending the rights of all humans. The woman was repeatedly questioned about her conversion to Christianity during her hearing, and the defendant claims that before the verdict was handed down, she was brutally tortured.
Israeli innovators have turned their attention and their technology towards helping Africa, which is on the brink of a major coronavirus outbreak. The World Health Organization estimates that there are less than 2,000 working ventilators for 41 African countries, and 10 African nations don't have any of the life-saving machines. The Israel-designed AmboVent ventilator has been made available online. The blueprints for this open-sourced ventilator can be downloaded, and some of the parts can even be 3D printed directly from the original design.
British Airways and Air Canada have announced plans to resume flights to the Holy Land. The London-Tel Aviv route is scheduled to resume May 1st on British Airways, and the flights between Toronto and Tel Aviv on Air Canada are set to begin just a month later, on June 1st. United Airlines has also announced that it will resume 2 flights daily from New York to Tel Aviv, and it has plans to restart direct flights from San Francisco on May 20th. The prospect of hosting pilgrims in the Holy Land again is exciting for Israel, and we would like to invite all our viewers to visit Jerusalem this year, so long as it's safe.
For the first time in U.S. history, a Hasidic Jew has been appointed to a senior position in the White House. Mitchell Silk was confirmed by the Senate as the new Assistant Secretary of Treasury for International Markets. He's been performing the duties of this position in an acting role since last July. Silk is an expert on China. He speaks 2 dialects of Chinese and holds a certificate of advanced studies in law from Beijing University, as well as a law degree from the University of Maryland. Silk revealed that his grandparents fled anti-Semitic persecution in Eastern Europe and immigrated to the United States. He said, "For my family, America represents freedom, security, and immense opportunity."
Spiritual leaders from across the religious spectrum gathered in Jerusalem last week to pray for the end of the coronavirus pandemic. A delegation of religious officials stood on a lookout over the holy city and prayed in their own languages for God's mercy. The chief rabbi of Israel noted how appropriate it was to pray for the healing from Jerusalem, which is described in the Bible as a house of prayer for all peoples. Chief rabbis David Lau and Yitzchak Yosef were joined by the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, the Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarch, 2 Muslim imams, and the spiritual leader of the Druze. The clergy collectively quoted scripture and prayed for global healing.
Ahead of the observance of Memorial Day in Israel, the Ministry of Defense announced that there have been 23,816 casualties of war and terrorist attacks since 1860. This is an increase of 75 fallen heroes who died defending the Jewish state since last Memorial Day. 42 IDF soldiers fell in the line of duty, and 33 disabled veterans passed away this year due to complications from injuries sustained during their military service.
Israel's precious Sea of Galilee is currently the fullest it has been in 16 years. Abundant rains have filled Lake Kinneret to the capacity, and the Israeli Water Authority has reported that this is the highest level since 2004. The Sea of Galilee is Israel's only freshwater source, and many in the state of Israel are celebrating the rain and calling it a blessing from God.
The Israel Allies Foundation has announced the formation of 3 new pro-Israel caucuses in African nations. The governments of Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Congo-Brazzaville will each host Israel Allies caucuses chaired by parliamentarians who have pledged to strengthen legislative support for the Jewish state on the basis of Judeo-Christian values. Josh Reinstein, the president of the Israel Allies Foundation, praised the launch of the new caucuses, saying there is tremendous support for Israel in Christian countries across Africa. Reinstein said, "Through the work of our network of Israel Allies caucuses in African parliaments, we are about to see the full effect of faith-based diplomacy." With the addition of these 3 countries, there are now a total of 42 Israel Allies caucuses working to support Israel based on Judeo-Christian values in governments around the world.
The population of Israel is now over 9 million and growing. This number is projected to increase to 12.8 million people over the next 20 years. The Taub Center released its demographic forecast showing this rapid increase. On the eve of its 72nd Independence Day, Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics announced the composition of this diverse and beautiful Jewish state. According to the report, 74% of the population is Jewish, 21% is Arabic, and 5% are considered non-affiliated or other. 180,000 babies were born and 32,000 Jews made Aliyah or moved to Israel since last Independence Day. 45% of the world's Jewish population resides in Israel, making it the largest Jewish community in the world. And a new poll by the Israel Democracy Institute reveals that 92.5% of those questioned responded by saying they feel a strong sense of belonging within the state of Israel. Well, that concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here in our beautiful studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Remy Reinstein. He's the Director of North America for Cure Life, and he happens to be my brother. Hi Remy, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us a little about what is Cure Life.
Cure Life is a supplement company that focuses on chronic conditions. Curelin, our first-to-market product, helps type 2 diabetics and pre-diabetics help maintain healthy blood sugar levels.
So this has like a measurable factor to it. You can see if it actually works or not, even though it is just a supplement.
Put it to the test, try it yourself, and you'll see.
Well, I know that our father actually takes it, and he's seen success. Can you tell us about that?
For sure. Our dad has been on Curelin for 6 months now, and he's completely maintained healthy blood sugar levels. His last visit to the doctor, he said it was the best in the past decade.
It's interesting. There's so much technology coming out of Israel when it comes to biotechnology. How do you explain this?
We're the startup nation. I mean, basically with Curelife, what we've done is that we've took old medicine and matched it with Israeli know-how. So Ayurvedic medicine coming from India mixed with Israeli know-how for the extraction process. We put these two things together and we got something that is very, very potent and works for the general public.
Now, you're in charge of this company for North America. Do you see it catching on?
Oh, very much so. We've been on the market for 3 years now. We have a huge presence online in the United States. We're actually branching off to brick and mortar stores all across America right now.
Diabetes is a big deal in Israel. A lot of people suffer from that. Is it the same in North America?
About 120 million people in the U.S. today is pre-diabetic or diabetic. So that's 1 in 3 people in the U.S. We see very, very high numbers in Asia and all around the world.
This technology that you're using to cure it, is it for type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
It's actually for pre-diabetics and type 2 diabetics.
So this product, Curelin, is for diabetics, but you also deal in other areas. What is the future of this company?
So our first product is Curelin for type 2 diabetics, and our next product will be Curajoint for arthritis, and we also have products for high blood pressure, also products for asthma as well. So we're starting with Curelin. We're seeing incredible results throughout the United States and across the world.
You're focusing on the more natural market. Why are you doing that rather than going to traditional medicine?
Well, what we've noticed is there's been a big shift around the world from traditional medicine to natural medicine. Why? Because of the side effects that are related with it. And when you take something like Curelin, there are no known negative effects. So this is 100% natural, safe, and it works.
And you're working with doctors as well. What is their reaction to this? Because doctors usually don't go for a natural supplement. They go for, hard medicine from a medical company. What do you see from the doctors?
Well, as long as you have some backing to it and some science behind it, they're very receptive. So all of our 10 natural ingredients inside of Curelin have clinical backing. We also have an amazing medical board. Our Professor Itamar Raz here in Israel is one of the leading people when dealing with diabetes in Israel and also around the world. So to have backing with clinical backing on each one of the ingredients and a strong medical board, people are starting to accept this new way of taking supplements instead of their regular medicine.
How do you get Curelin? Do you need a prescription?
No, this is over the counter. You can order it online at www.curelife.com and soon to be in stores all across America.
Other than North America, which you're in charge of, where else are people buying Curelin?
People are buying Curelin all over the world. We're selling to 50 different countries right now, and we're seeing an incredible response.
How does this promote Israel?
Basically, the extraction process, our secret sauce when dealing with Curelin. We found this Ayurvedic medicine and we understand that it works, but the strength of it wasn't there. So what we had to do was create a technology here in Israel to help with the extraction process. That makes Curelin much more potent and work for the general public.
And the people who buy it, do they know it's from Israel? Do they know this is an Israeli technology?
We do discuss it in our Facebook page, Winning Type 2 Diabetes, together, but it's not a secret. Israel has a big aspect to dealing with our supplements.
They say that Israel is a light onto the nations through our new technologies and development. Do you see biotechnology as the fulfillment of that prophecy?
100%. I mean, we are changing lives across the world.
Natural medicine is becoming very popular. What are some of the other fields that we're seeing people invest in and get involved in the natural medicine field?
It's almost every field. I mean, people are looking naturally for high blood pressure, for Alzheimer's. People are using things like omega-3. The whole industry is being shifted to this natural way.
10 years from now, what do you see for the natural medicine field?
Oh, it's just exploding year to year. I mean, this is something that's going to grow. People are realizing that their doctors want them to take traditional medicine and not actual supplements. But once they start seeing that supplements are the next way, then they are working, they're going to want something with zero side effects.
There are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Well, if you love Israel, then you should try one of our newest technologies coming out of here. Curelin is 100% natural and has no known side effects. Come check it out and try it and put us to the test.
Thank you, Remo, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Shalom and welcome to the Return to Zion with Karen Hayesod. I'm Sam Grundwerg, World Chairman of Karen Hayesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Even before the creation of the State of Israel, Karen Hayesod worked with Friends of Israel to bring home our sons and daughters. Watch this amazing story about how together we saved the Jewish community from Iraq.
In 1947, the United Nations took a historic vote to establish a Jewish state. But Jews who had lived peacefully for centuries in neighboring Arab countries became a target for violent retribution, especially the 150,000 proud Jews of Iraq. In response, the Zionist movement launched its most daring operation. Shlomo Hillel, who would later become an Israeli government minister and world chairman of Karen Hayesod UIA, was recruited to plan an operation which would save Iraqi Jews and bring them back to their ancient homeland.
אחרי שנה של שליחות בעיראק, אני חזרתי די מאוכזב וטענתי שאנחנו לא עושים די. ויום אחד בא אליי מישהו והוא אומר לי, אתה כל הזמן מתלונן שאנחנו לא עושים די, תבוא מחר לחיפה, ישנם שני טייסים אמריקנים שהיו גיבורי מלחמה במלחמת העולם השנייה, והם שמעו שהם יכולים פה להציע את השירות שלהם, לגמרי תכליתיים. אפשר לנסוע לבגדד, יש מקומות במדבר לחנות. אני אומר, כל עיראק זה מדבר אחד גדול. אוקיי, אז בוא ניסע. הכביש שיוצא מבגדד, מצד אחד יש בו שדה התעופה, מצד שני מחנה צבאי גדול. כלומר, שאני פה צריך להיזהר מאוד, יש גדר בכל שדה תעופה. אז ראינו באיזה מקום שהגדר קצת חלשה. באמת מגיע המטוס, מתחיל להניע את הפרופלרים ברעש נורא, והיום מדליק את הפרוז'קטורים כדי לעבר את המגדל הפיקוח שבתוך שדה התעופה, ואנחנו מתחילים להעלות את האנשים.
The pilots then took off and aimed the nose of their Kurdish Commando aircraft westward, home to Zion.
אז ברגע שעזבנו את שדה התעופה של בגדד בשלום, הייתה כמובן הרגשת הנחת רווחה, יצאנו בשלום. אבל האמת שזה עדיין לא הסוף. שכבו והחזיקו אחד בשני בידיים, ואנחנו עוברים את רמת הגולן, ופתאום אני רואה את הכנרת כחול. ואני כבר רואה מרחוק את יבניאל, ורואה שתי מדורות, ואז ישר הטייס בלי לעשות סיבובים בין שתי המדורות האלה נוחת.
Within minutes, the new immigrants had been spirited away to local communities, many pioneered by Karen Hayesod, to begin their new lives in the home of their ancestors. From 1951 to 1952, around 120,000 were flown to Israel in operations Ezra and Nehemiah, named after the biblical prophets of ancient Babylon. With the help of Karen Hayesod, these immigrants built new lives. They became leaders of Israeli industry, politics, and the military. Operation Michaelberg also demonstrated that Jews would return to Zion, whatever the circumstances. As the Jewish state celebrates its 70th year, Israel can be proud that time and again it has plucked Jews from danger to safety. All of this can be tracked back to Shlomo Hillel and two brave American pilots. Today, many more Jews dream of returning to their homelands to play their own part in the miracle which is the State of Israel. Karen Hayesod is at the heart of these efforts. Jeremiah promised, "Your children will return to their borders."
Let's bless Israel together.
Now's the time for you to get involved. Assist Karen Hayesod to raise the necessary funds in order to bring Jews yearning for their homeland back to Israel. Your donation can help fulfill the biblical prophecy today. To donate and get information, visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
My dear friends, the centennial anniversary of the San Remo Conference is a chance to celebrate a seminal moment in the history of Zionism. At San Remo, the victorious Allied powers of World War I recognized the Jewish people's right of self-determination. Those powers ratified and pledged to implement the Balfour Declaration. 3 years earlier, British Foreign Minister Lord Arthur Balfour, speaking on behalf of his government, had called for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. Now, in ratifying that historic declaration, San Remo recognized a fundamental truth. The Jewish people are not foreign colonialists in the land of our forefathers. The land of Israel is our ancestral homeland. My friends, for decades, I've been fighting those who have sought to deny the millennial connection of the Jewish people to our homeland. I'm proud to say that the decades-long struggle has borne fruit. 3 months ago, the Trump peace plan recognized Israel's rights in all of Judea and Samaria. And President Trump pledged to recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Jewish communities there and in the Jordan Valley. A couple of months from now, I'm confident that that pledge will be honored, that we will be able to celebrate another historic moment in the history of Zionism. A century after San Remo, the promise of Zionism is being realized. It's being realized because we never stopped fighting for our rights, and your efforts are part of that fight. Thank you for celebrating this historic occasion. Thank you for fighting for the rights of the Jewish people.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El Rome.
And I'm Shanna Fold, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.